single sardine cannot do much on its own accord. However, it has been told, I have read, that back in the day, a massive school of sardines underneath the Golden Gate Bridge was powerful enough. A school of sardines was powerful enough together to force a large boat to stop in its tracks and push it the other way. Tile friends, if you want to change for better in this industry, if you want higher prices, if you wish people respected you more as a tile contractor, we have got to band together and unitedly turn this ship around. You might have seen or heard of the hashtag #WeAreTile. That hashtag #WeAreTile was born out of a desire to see this industry grow and improve. The desire to see the tile artisan, the desire to see you command respect once again in this industry. I want you to earn a better living. I want to highlight you, the tile installer. #WeAreTile means that you have the power to create lasting change, real change inside of our industry. If you have something to say, if you have something to share, something positive that you believe will have an impact on your industry, I want you to share it. Never before has what I'm saying been more true than today with the power of social media, podcasts, YouTube. We live in a time when your voice can truly be heard. And the powers that be are listening. They're listening because they realize it matters. They're listening because they are forced to. Look at what is happening within the Facebook groups today. People are being united. People are sharing ideas. People are building one another up. There are groups today that focus on positivity. Real leaders are emerging from within the tile installation side of our industry. And what they are doing will go down in history as a force that made a real impact for the good, for the better. Be the change you want, I'm telling you. Let your voice be heard. Use the hashtag #WeAreTile to add to the positive conversations that are taking place online. Hello, tile friends. Welcome back to another episode of Tile Money. This is the podcast where we discuss the business of being a tile contractor. My name is Luke Miller, and I am on a mission to help you, the tile contractor, grow profitable, grow a sustainable business, the kind of business that you will be proud of, the kind of business that will be around for generations to come. Thank you for letting me know that this podcast is helping you. I truly appreciate it. Today's episode is sponsored by Crossville. Crossville is America's leading manufacturer of tile. They are providing and manufacturing quality tile. A lot of their products are made right here in the United States. They are leading the way in manufacturing gauged porcelain tile panels, large panels. If you're interested in learning more, check out the episode where I interviewed Noah Chitty. If you're looking for a good partner, someone who you can consistently rely on, that their tile is quality, check out Crossville. So in the next 4 episodes, starting with this episode, we are going to be discussing employees. I know the subject of employees is something that comes up almost daily. You know, in these busy years, it's difficult to locate and hang on to a quality employee. There's so many single contractors out there. Where do you even start? Well, to get started on this conversation, I had a great interview, a great discussion with Dan Welch. He owns Welch Tile Marble out of Michigan. Dan has 60 employees, so he has a wealth of information when it comes to hiring and maintaining and training employees. Listen as he shares his story and some of the history of Welch Tile.
All right. We were founded in 1987. My dad, mom, my dad had worked his whole life at Grand Rapids Tile. They were a union company, decided that, this wasn't working for them. The company itself was a good company, but it had transitioned to the next generation. And that transition, the next person in line was really not running the company the way it should be. And he felt it was going to go out of business. So he banded with a couple other people, and they went out on their own, started doing labor-only jobs for quite a while.
Okay.
That was 1987 in the fall. So my dad had 7 kids, so that was a big gamble, right? Leaving a company that he had company truck. He was a project field superintendent for the company, had been there maybe 15, 16 years, and learned all of the trade and the office part of it. So when Welch Tile started, there were the partners and my brother, and they did work for one big interior finish contractor, the Bauma Corporation. Over a period of time, the Bauma Corporation's team was not able to do the work as efficiently and effectively as we were. So they got let go of their hourly employees and subcontracted Welch. And then we grew exponentially over the next few years, up to about 20 guys, just labor only work.
Okay.
And somewhere around the mid 2000s, we started doing our own work. And we were at that point, say, maybe 30 guys. Now we're up to around 60 people as a company, and we're a prime contractor.
So, understanding that Dan has 60 employees, I wanted to know how Dan is leading his company and creating that culture that those employees would want to be a part of. See, why are they sticking around? Why would an employee want to work for Dan other than his competition? See, that's what you need to focus on if you want to hang on to your employees. Check out what he said here.
Yeah, we are a people development company that we just happen to do tile. Yeah, we happen to do other things too, but one of my dad's core values was, really a good day's work for a good day's pay was what we call it is a guiding principle. Now that we're learning what all those things were, but when Dad tells you to do something, you did it, right? And all of us kids. One thing about us is there was 7 kids in the family, so 6 of us worked for the company, and so if we were fighting once in a while, we'd have to stop on the way to work and tussle a little bit and then keep going.
Yeah.
But we all gave it, and Dad taught us the right way to do it, and also the value system that he had. Good day's pay for a good day's work. If it isn't, if you're not, it's not worth doing right, you don't do it at all. Yeah. So he just had a lot of those type of statements.
Yeah.
That guided us.
I love that you've maintained some of those core values, taken, from your father's, wisdom, and kind of crafted some of your own and woven some of your own into there. That's a great example.
Yeah. Now we're working on that a lot. So, yeah.
It's probably a continual effort.
It is. When my dad retired and I took over, that was in 2008. And he gave me enough rope to hang myself.
Yeah.
Give your kids enough rope, and then, but be there to pick them up too. So
Sure.
They had to let me make my mistakes, and that's one thing I thought was exponentially important in business is having a mentor there to be there when you need them, but not to make all the decisions for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So a couple of the other things, that were really key to that, people development was if your horn's worth blowing, somebody else will blow it. Have you ever heard that one?
There you go. Yeah.
So it was instrumental in building our core. Mm-hmm. So not only the family, but that group around us that I consider our core. They learned the same value system that I did while I was, of course I had an earlier start than they did, but coming out of high school, going to work, all your friends coming with you to go to work, and they learned it from Dad too. He was the father figure in the whole company. So
yeah. How long ago did you kind of make that your, I want to call it a mission statement? We are a people development, one of your values, right? One of your core values. How long ago did you make that switch, and what differences have you noticed?
So in 2008, I came up with a new mission statement, which is people creating change. And I found out later it was Obama, and the whole change thing, but I think I was first.
Okay.
because I wasn't really paying attention at the time. So, but the people was always a big core value. And recently we've been going through that. We haven't finalized the core values or the statement or the purpose. But we've hired a new marketing company to come in and help us with that, so that we're taking a piece of the logo, all of that's getting looked at right now. And because I think I have 10 more years to give, 12 more years to give, and I want this new generation coming in to know a lot more about us, because and why we operate. Because it's a lot easier when we grew up with Dad telling us what to do, and we all have those core values. Now, the younger people coming in are harder to, buy in. They have to buy in from your foreman.
All right. So I love how Dan views his company as a people development company. He had a great example with his father. He shared how to lead people, how to deal with people, how to be an employee, how to be a boss. But he continued to put into practice the lessons he learned while building upon those values, upon those fundamentals, developing his own fundamentals, developing his own core values on top of what he was taught. I feel strongly that Dan's focus on his people, on his employees, his concern with their development and their growth is the meaning of company culture. That's what it's all about, creating the type of culture that people actually appreciate and want to come to work, want to be a part of. See, that's what it's all about, to hang on to employees. The company culture is, of course, attractive to new employees, but it would also have a big part in why people stick around, why they don't feel the need to go do it themselves. If they feel like they are truly a part of something larger than themselves, this gives them incentive to show up and to give it their all, to work hard for the company and for something that they are a part of. I encourage you to think about your company culture. Do you have one? Are you developing one? Would you want to work for yourself? All right. We're going to get back to the interview, but before we do, I've got some tile news. This is sponsored by the National Tile Contractors Association. If you are enjoying this podcast and benefiting from this in the Facebook group, I love it. That is great. I truly hope this is providing you with advice and knowledge to help you grow and build your business. But for those of you who have been asking me for something more, I'm excited and happy to tell you that I have been working on something more for you, something more hands-on, something more custom fit, something that's going to dive deeper, an in-depth business course that's going to consist of several video tutorials that will walk you through setting up your business, fast-tracking your business development. And on the back end of those video tutorials, we're going to work together on it as a group, a smaller group, a much smaller group of like-minded people, growth-orientated people, just like you, who are taking that course and working hard to establish your business together. Together, we are going to work through the steps outlined in those videos. Together, we will share growth mindset techniques and real solutions to the real problems that we're all facing. Everyone taking that course will have access to the video tutorials. They're not going to be available anywhere else, not on YouTube, not in this podcast. Those who, listen to this course, they will have access to interviews with guests who will give us actionable advice that are not available anywhere else. So if you're looking for something more, if you want to dive deeper, if you want something that's more personalized to you, this is it. Something magical happens when a smaller group of people get together. They share more openly. They're excited to help one another. They get to know one another more on a deeper level, and they get comfortable with one another, and they care about one another. They encourage one another on a deeper level. I love what we have created with the Tile Money Facebook group, and that will always be a free resource because I understand we're all in different spaces in our business. And this podcast will continue to be free. But if you wish to dive deeper, if you find yourself wishing that the group was smaller so you could share more or feel more comfortable, I highly recommend you check out my Tile Business Mastery class. You can go to my website, tilemoney.com. In addition to that, the principles I'm sharing with you in that video course are the same principles that I'm using to create my current business. And so we're literally going to be going over these together and applying these, and I'm going to share with you how they're affecting my business. So I'm looking forward to this group. Check it out. It'll be open very soon. We're about a week away from the launch. All right, so back to this interview. I wanted Dan to share with us what advice he can give us for locating employees. Check out what he said here.
Yeah, some of the guys are retiring and some are coming in, and so it's really hard to grow the number because they're coming and they're going a little bit, but your core stays pretty steady. So we're doing all of the above as far as recruitment. About 3 years ago, everybody was looking, and we went out and hired a consultant. One thing that I feel strongly about is I'm not the best at everything, and something like recruitment, if it's worth doing, invest in it, right? So we're going to spend the money, hired a guy to come in, and I learned a lot about how to onboard people. And I thought, you have to do the interview, you bring them in, do these things. But there's a lot of art to it when you're interviewing and onboarding. So, starting right out, telling them, sending the message that you care. What are your core values? We are a people development company, and we give a shit, really. I don't know if I can say that on TV, but that's what I say. We give a darn. And it shows when they walk in, and they want to come back for that second interview. So we offer a written offer, whereas before it's like, yeah, come on in, we'll figure something out. Well, being professional about it.
Okay.
Here's your offer. Here's what we're going to give you. Here's your path of ascension. So we work very, very hard to develop, phase 1, 2, 3, 4, right on through wherever they want to get. They want to be the next president of the company. I'm more power to them.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to hand it to them. So that's a lot of it.
So, and you finding that they're responding good to this, the younger people?
Absolutely.
So
when people come in and they see what we have to offer, they're excited when they walk out. Now that excitement changes over time,
Sure.
but they feel a sense of family, a sense of community, not just a number. So that first day when they come on, we'll do the I-9s, the W-2s, go through all of our safety. We take the 10 modules from the NTCA, the first 10, and we have them watch them right here in our shop, in our office. Our Chief Operating Officer, Steve, and I, along with Doreen, our training development person, Calvin, Bill, our field superintendent, will take them out to lunch. And just not to do anything other than just to get to know them. Do you have any kids? Because the interview process, you can't be asking them a lot of those questions. How old are you? Do you have kids? And so what do you like to do? Fishing, hunting, that kind of stuff. So it builds that, tightness.
Yeah, that's great. So let's say someone comes into your company and you're asking them these questions and you're getting to know them, and they say, I think what I'd really like to do is work my way up, up the ladder and be in some sort of management role. So let's say I just told you that. Where do we go from there? Let's say I'm a 18-year-old kid fresh out of high school.
Well, I'll probably have a little bit of an idea from the interview saying, I see these strengths in you. Your communication skills are good. Whatever those, those pieces that you see in someone, and I'm very open with telling them what I see. And I'm also open with telling them what I see that could use work. Yeah. We have a process, and we can start here wheeling the wheelbarrows. Apprenticeship AS1, and that's 6 months, and then 2, 3, 4. But if you're going to be a manager, you're going to have to know what you're doing. So you start out here, and then when you get through the apprenticeship, we can make a choice. Do you want to stay in the finisher? You want to go towards being a setter? Okay. And then work your way up. But certainly the tile trade offers a lot of management opportunity, because you don't have to be the foreman on the job to be leading a group of installers that are grouting, or leading a group that are mudding, or, because you have big groups of people, you need leaders all the way through.
Okay.
So it's up to you. How far can you get?
All right. I love that Dan recognizes that he can't do everything on his own. As a boss, as a company leader, you have to recognize this fact, and you have to get help. And you have to look to people that are better at different areas than you are. And when it comes to recruiting some people, he turned to hiring a professional to help him organize a recruiting system. He developed a system that's working for him, and he'll continue to develop that and work on it. It starts with getting to know his potential employees. Did you see how much time he gets to know them? He looks for their strengths. He looks for their weaknesses. He then goes on to start the process after hiring of training them. See, he wants to help them identify where they want to be in the future of the company. That way they're working towards their goals. Did you notice that? All right, we've got another Tile Money tip right now, and this is sponsored by Laticrete. Inside this Tile Money tip, Ron is talking about differentiation. The big question you have to ask yourself is, in a crowded market of tile installers, how are you differentiating yourself? Let's listen to this clip and see if we can pinpoint a couple ways Ron highlights.
This is an effort to differentiate. This is sort of what I was talking about before. Some work, okay, council look design. He's got some, photographs in here. We have some ideas on, we talked about some ideas, maybe ideas for version 2.0 of this. But the point is like, spend some money on this. These cost $25 a piece. So $25 a piece. This is part of his presentation. But really, what is this? Really, what is it? He organically came to this idea of building this. Do you leave these behind? Sometimes, yeah. Okay, but you organically came to this. Why did he do this? Why?
Stand out.
Say again?
Marketing tool.
It's a marketing tool, yeah. But the point is that this will differentiate.
Looks organized.
Looks organized.
Looks like you put up.
Looks like he gives a crap.
Looks like something
It's
right
fine.
on a shelf.
You spend time on it, right? I would imagine
Shelf. That's a lifetime customer.
could be.
Lifetime.
What if you had a big contract and you go to, by the way, you can get these printed on your iPhone. Actually, Apple will print these for you if you wanted. There's all kinds of companies that print these for you. Let's say your contract gets above a certain level. Repeat business is what you start closing for. I'm going to say that again because contractors, even though you guys aren't really contractors, people who do work like you without contractor pay, they at the end of the job is when you're closing for the next job. And I will also tell you that most contractors suck at finishing. They're great at starting. They're fantastic at starting. They suck at closing. And if you want to improve your business, close really well. If you close a job really well, and just an idea, free idea, do whatever you want with it. If I had a contract that I considered a big contract, I may actually do a photo book just like this and leave behind. In commercial construction, they have something called the O&M manuals, owner's manuals, right? And my project management firm, we would take all the owner's manuals, as-built drawings, all those things, put them in a really nice binder, spent some money on that binder, and I would leave it with every project. Guess what I also would have in there? My contact information, all that stuff. Anything goes wrong, call me, those kind of things, because I'm continually looking at the next job. I totally went on a tangent there, but it's really important. Contractors suck at closing. You will do better in your work if you close really well. The last thing you do on the job, besides pick up a check, needs to be leave a good taste in the mouth of the project. Now, that's an art into itself. I just want you guys to know it's an art form into itself, but people they just think about winning. They don't think about closing. Call to action towards social is fantastic. By the way, help them. Anything you can do to help. I literally have no problem with people writing a quick timeline of what happened on the project in an email. Hey, so you know, this is what happened on the project. You wanted to copy and paste this, put it on Facebook, go for it. People will do it. People will do it. And all this, you see what I'm saying? It starts a snowball. All this starts a snowball. None of these things that I was talking about, you can't just do this and be successful, right? You have to have a conglomeration of these concepts in order to build a powerful business.
All right, so in that negotiation class, someone had brought a good example, a great example of a tool that they had made to differentiate themselves. It was simply a well-made hardcover book of their work with quality photos of their finished work and some of their ongoing work, I believe. And Ron mentioned that to take that a step further, you might want to take that idea and make a custom book for a really high-end, higher dollar amount project. He emphasized that the repeat business that we're all after, and we all know it, we all know that repeat customers are the best clients, right? So that's what we're after. But we need to get better at closing ourselves at the end of the job, because these clients are the type of clients we want. But what are we doing to ensure that they're thinking of us years down the road? Are we closing in a way that differentiates ourselves? Leave the client with a call to action. Help them out by giving them a script of how the project went step by step. That was another great tip. The best tip I really enjoyed inside there is that you cannot rely on just one thing. See, you can't believe that one good idea will be enough to set you apart from all the competition. Ron went on to tell us that to properly differentiate ourselves, we have to focus on 3 areas. Number 1, identify problems. Number 2, propose the solutions. Number 3, emphasize uniqueness. So I hope you enjoyed that tip. In next week's tip, we will continue this discussion of differentiation. I truly hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I hope I've given you something to think about, something to apply in your business, some helpful advice that you can apply. I really hope you can take something away from today's episode and improve your business. In next week's episode, we're going to continue to talk to Dan Welch. He had a lot more to say, so look forward to the next couple episodes, and Dan's going to continue to tell us what he's doing for hiring and retaining employees. If you enjoyed this podcast, check out ratethispodcast.com/tilemoney to leave me a review. I'd appreciate a 5-star review. All right, tile friends, until next time, stay profitable out there.